Hi, I'm Lou.
John?
Welcome to this series, this Bottled Up series. We're taking the acronym LOVE. We've done 3 already, so do try and listen to those. And we've got to V, which is value your drinker by remembering the things about them that brought you into the relationship in the first place. Just to say, if this is a sibling or a mum or a child, remember the love that you felt for them before the drinker began to erode your relationship.
Yeah, I think that's very important, because I think, I don't need to tell you, you can get into really negative feelings about your drinker.
Yeah.
I think the most common phrase I hear is people come and say, he's a lovely person when he's drinking, when he's sober, but see when he's drinking, and that's usually where it finishes. They don't have to go on. The phrase Jekyll and Hyde gets used a lot,
Sure.
And so most of you who come here will love your drinker in some way, Another phrase I've heard is, I love him but don't like him, and I can relate to all of these things, but it's, and I can't blame you. I really can't blame you. When I was drinking, when my wife left me with the immortal words of, I don't like you, I don't love you, and I'm leaving before I hate you. And I thought, jinx,
Good parting line, that.
Yeah, it was. It's one of the great parting lines. Exit stage left. Off she goes. When I got sober, what I realised is that I would never have stayed as long as she did. Never. I could not have coped with it. I couldn't have coped with me, But I didn't see me when I was drinking. That was the difference.
Just as an analogy, we have in England Antiques Roadshow. You might have them in other countries, but basically somebody takes along something, and it might be something that they've been using as an umbrella stand or something, something that they haven't valued and haven't looked after particularly, but they've had it a long time. So they take it along, and it's always an interesting bit where gradually the valuer looks at it and sees what it truly is and begins to describe what it is underneath.
Yes.
And then suddenly everybody's attitude to that pot changes, and they begin to take it, nicely again. So
it's a good analogy.
Yeah. So
this doorstop is all of a sudden extremely valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think what happens with drink, it's the equivalent of the value of your relationship and who that person is. It becomes to be used like the old doorstop and umbrella, and you forget that underneath is that lovely person who you loved and who you valued and who you treasured. So there's a bit in as much as that the valuer needs to pop up that's got a good eye for what something really is. But what we tend to do in our anger is there's a different valuer that comes in that begins to trash and begins to just describe what they see rather than what's underneath. And so you kind of need to get back to an accurate valuation of what is underneath this person when they're not drinking. And remember, that's exactly who they are. That's who you fell in love with.
There's a beauty spot in the Lake District. I remember going to this hotel.
Yeah.
And and I had a room with a window which looked into the car park. And I thought, not much of a hotel, this. And then I went down to breakfast. I had this huge bay window overlooking the lake. And it was absolutely gorgeous. Same place, just 2 different views. One was the car park, which was incredibly uninteresting. One was just absolutely spectacular. So the night before, I wasn't particularly crazy about the hotel because I'd arrived in the dark. But during the day, and I saw this view, I thought, this is a wonderful hotel, and it went way, way, way up in my estimation. So it depends on which direction we're actually looking. If we're focusing on all the negatives, then yes, why would we love this person? Why would we value this person in any way? But if we start and we look at some of the positives, then it kind of, things start to change.
Sure. And, you know, it's well accepted if we're parents that, you know, a child that's brought up with just faults being kind of highlighted all the time becomes more badly behaved, less confident. But that's also true in a loving relationship. If all you say about me is how I'm getting everything wrong, then in the end, I just feel as if I am worth nothing.
They call it a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, do they? Yeah.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. And it was something that was, there was a lot of research done in education. And, you know, and if you kept telling a child that it was thick, you know, and it's stupid, and, you know, and it would never make anything of it, then funnily enough, that's exactly what happened. But if you started encouraging the child and say, oh, we see, you know, great stuff, then actually their grades went way up. You know, and so that was the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I have heard about it.
Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely sure you have, you know. I wasn't saying it for you.
So,
she's very skilled as a therapist. So I wasn't educating.
Having said on camera that I didn't know what you were talking about, I was sitting here thinking, of course I know what he's talking about.
You know.
But your drinker will not be able to do that to themselves. They will have lost sight completely of the truth about themselves. And so this, again, is very empowering and very important. If you begin to tell them who you know they truly are, then in that mirror image, they may begin to gain some self-respect. This is enormously important in their journey, isn't it, in the drinker's journey?
Absolutely. I mean, the story I've told many times is that, you know, at the end of my drinking, you know, and I was in a hospital and I was in a DTs and taken to the boss's office, and I said to the boss, you know, I'm a hopeless case. And he said, you may well be, but you're not a lost cause. You know, and all these years later, I
love
can remember that.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And what he did is he fed something positive into my brain, and I thought, oh, I'm not a lost cause. Maybe there is something in there worth redeeming.
Absolutely.
You know? And here I am today.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm here directly because of what he said, but it certainly contributed.
Yeah. And don't be surprised if when you start doing it, they beat you down. Because at first it almost, the shame, actually, it often brings up the feelings of shame, but just keep saying it. Again, not in a weird, yucky way. Just say, this is who you are, this is what I remember. Even this is what I miss, because this is who I know that you truly are.
Now, if somebody's drinking, you know, and causing sort of chaos or, you know, insulting you all the time, then why should you value them, you know? And this is a very good question. And I think, you know, there are a couple of reasons. One is what we've been talking about, this kind of trying to coax out the real person that's inside, the person that you actually love. But the other one is about you. It's about you, you know, because the alternative is that you feel very negative towards that person. You know, we talk a lot about resentment. You know, we become very resentful towards that person, and if you feel really resentful towards that person, then you act in a particular way. Yeah. And there is a kind of vicious circle kind of starts. But the other thing is that the resentment, you know, again, I've talked about it elsewhere. It comes from the word ressentir, which is the French for, you know, to re-feel. And that's what you're doing. You're replaying this all the time. The drinker's not doing anything at that particular moment in time. But it doesn't matter because you're re-feeling all the stuff that went before that. This incident is going round and round and round your head, and it might be weeks, months, even years later. Yeah. You know, you're replaying this. It's like a loop in your head. And the way to break out of that loop is to actually look for the positives. Yeah.
And I say this to my clients all the time. Yeah. Your psyche is watching very carefully at the lead that you're giving it. And if you make a decision and you follow through in that decision and you keep doing it, your psyche will know and follow the lead that you are giving. Very clever thing, your psyche. So you're setting up patterns, but you're also, again, it's back to deciding the person that you want to be, you know. And if you call forth and if you value, then you are remembering why you're there, basically, and telling that to yourself. And you can extrapolate out, you know, we're not trying to bring you into denial. You don't have to pretend you like the drinking behaviour, but you carry on loving the true person underneath.
So again, like I said in the previous video, It's all about changing patterns.
Yeah.
Change the pattern of how you behaved before, because if it wasn't working then, it's not going to work now.
Yeah.
You know?
And we understand this particular set of acronyms. You know, there's lots of bombs going to go into your psyche when we're saying things.
Oh,
you know, and
absolutely.
you will react, and of course you'll react. You know, so we kind of understand that. However, these are tested and tried things. We're not just saying this because we're some therapy over there with the theory. We've lived this.
This is why we called the first video "Love the Alcoholic." You must be joking.
Yeah, so we kind of get
we get it. We understand that. We're not saying, "Oh, here's a nice simple solution." It's not. It might be a simple solution, but it's not an easy solution.
No, I like that. Yeah.
And it's not. You know, it's difficult. We know that. And it just think, you're asking somebody to change. You know, can you change?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a question.
There's a question, and I think maybe that's where we should leave it.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. So join us for E. Thank you for listening. Do comment. We love it that you comment.
Yeah.
You know, we read all these threads and, you know, open up to each other, open up to us. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're all in this together. Bye-bye.
Bye.